Well, welcome, ahlan wa sahlan, and we're so glad you could be here. How many people went to the congressional dinner last night? Did you enjoy it? Wasn't that awesome? We had over 10 congressmen that addressed our community, Representative Maxine Waters, Nick Rahal, Keith Ellison. It goes on and on. It was an incredible event, and it was very inspirational to all of us as Arab Americans to hear some of the comments that they made about civil rights issues and the issues that we have, that we all come together on as far as commonality. And very exciting and a very exhilarating evening. And here we are on Friday morning. This is the opening of our convention. And I just want to tell you, before becoming the president of ADC, I was an activist for 30 years in Detroit. How many from Detroit here? I know 4. Oh, good, okay. Detroit, as you know, is the largest concentration, houses the largest concentration of Arab Americans. And for many years, I was an activist in Detroit. And 2 years ago, became the national president of ADC. And it's been a great experience for me. The first year I kind of spent just getting my feet wet and just learning more about the logistics, the internal operations of ADC. Though I was an activist with ADC since 1980 in Detroit, and then I immediately started to travel around the country and went to about 10 states. And many of you in this room are people that had the opportunity, pleasure to meet. Some of the states I went to are like California, Texas, I'm trying to think, Florida, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan. It was just a great experience. I know I probably forgot some. And then I've got another 10 states that I'm planning to go to after the convention, after the summer into the fall. I'm trying to get out to as many people as I can. We have the thing about ADC is that it's grassroots, right? It's grassroots in nature, and that's part of the genetic makeup of ADC. So we have members in just about every state throughout the country. As I look out, I see into the crowd here, I see so many familiar faces of people that I know. And I just want you to know that I'm very appreciative that all of you are here today. Is the whole theme of our convention is it starts with you. And it starts with you. How we came up with this theme is that, we wanted to really inspire people to take action. Advocacy and activism is taking action. And everything really starts with you. And if you have an idea, many times I have an idea, but, you really don't do anything. You don't implement it. And the concept of this, of our theme, is that it starts with you. Advocacy starts with you. Civil rights starts with you. Palestine starts with you. Whatever that is, whatever the passion is, it starts with you. It could be your spiritual beliefs. It could be so many things. Getting married starts with you, right? How many people got married? Somebody had to. So, but in keeping with the theme, we've included many events to encourage participation. We have a whole array of events that are all centered around activism. And then, of course, there were 200 of you yesterday at our Advocacy Day. Not just the congressional dinner last night, but we started with the White House, where we were briefed on foreign policy issues. And how many people were at the White House yesterday? That was an interesting experience, wasn't it? I can get into that in a whole session, but it was an interesting part of being Americans and being Arab Americans. It's our right to go to the White House and to hear what they have to say. And then, of course, we gave our feedback to them as well. And then we had a series, after that, we had a series of meetings set up on Capitol Hill where many people met with their congressional representatives. We had some impact meetings as well. In fact, I went on one meeting yesterday, and it was great. It was a great experience. Well, we have, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the asks, because you've got this sheet that's basically in your packet. I don't know if you've got your packets with you, but it's the ADC Ask. And on this, we have dealing with different issues like civil rights, cultural, different issues, Palestine and so forth, where we're asking you to make an ask. In other words, we just don't want to come together today, at a convention and then leave. We actually want to be able to do something. Now I'm going to have Renee from our staff come up here and talk a little bit about the asks.
So, not as tall as Warren, but this morning when you came in, there was a piece of paper on each of your seats, and you each should have a pen. Like Warren said, the theme of our convention this year is It Starts With You, so our staff wants to help you embody that theme, and we want to make everything start with you. So this morning's ask is related to something called the Safe Schools Improvement Act. And we have been working to rejuvenate our education, I guess, department, which we used to have a fully functioning one, but now we're doing some more on education. And the education issue that most acutely affects our community right now is bullying. So this ask is, we are working in a coalition of broad partners to pass this act because it includes comprehensive anti-bullying legislation. So if you will, look at the piece of paper. If you know your congressman, your representative, you can put their name in here. If not, just sign your name and make sure you write your name and address on the bottom of it, because we're going to collect them all as you leave today, and then our office will distribute them to the correct congressional members. But it just basically asks them to support this bill in Congress. If you want to mark this up and add something personal, please feel free to do so. If not, you can stick with the form letter. We'll fill it out for you as long as you sign it and put your name and address. And the sheet that Warren referred to earlier is very important, because every big session we're going to have a different ask, and it's our way of helping you start this It Starts With You theme. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Renee. Also, right after the plenary, we're going to we're going to have 4 breakout sessions. And let me tell you a little bit about these sessions. We did a call for papers, for proposals, because we want to do something different. With the theme being It Starts With You, we wanted to have our members submit panels, and never in ADC's history have we ever done that. So let's take the initiative and see what kind of feedback we get. And to our amazement, we got over 50 proposals that came from all over the country through the internet, of people that wanted to submit proposals for the breakout sessions that you're going to be going to, the 4 breakout sessions after this plenary. And we picked these 4. Then what happened is we narrowed it down to I think there was a dozen in the finalists, and then people voted. And these are the 4 that were picked, out of the 50. And let me just go through them. The 4 session winners are conflict resolution and problem solving. Okay, Jews standing in solidarity with the Palestinian struggle for justice, social justice from an Arab American perspective, and the impact of hate speech. Whoops. Am I here? Okay. The impact of hate speech and negative stereotypes in the media. So you have a choice to pick from one of those 4, or if you want to maybe go from one to the other, whatever you'd like to do after our keynote speaker talks to us. And I encourage you to go to them, and remember, these are people that just submitted. This is not ADC that we picked these particular panels. These are people that came from our membership, and please support them. All right. Before we split into groups, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, and his name is Mr. Ahmad Ashkar. And he's going to be talking a little bit, give some remarks at this morning's plenary session. We are excited and absolutely delighted to have him here today. And among his many, many achievements, Ahmad is the founder and CEO of the Hult Prize. In partnership with President Clinton and the Clinton Global Initiative, the Hult Prize has created the world's largest student movement for social impact and the world's largest crowd sourcing platform dedicated to solving the most pressing social challenges on the planet. It's an initiative that has students in universities across the globe compete in coming up with ideas for social good. The winners received $1 million to help the fund startup. President Clinton and Time Magazine have recognized the Hult Prize as one of the 5 ideas changing the world today. So on behalf of ADC, I'm truly honored and grateful to welcome Ahmad with us this morning. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ahmad Ashkar.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being out here so early. It starts with you. I think it's something that speaks very close to and near to my heart today. I was actually scheduled to be in Chicago. Clinton Global Initiative America is today and tomorrow. Good timing, Warren. But as a Palestinian American, when I got invited to speak here today, I felt that it was my duty to give up some of the other types of things and commitments that I had and show up today. And starting with you begins with showing up. And today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my journey on how I moved an idea to impact worldwide. And hopefully we can take some of those lessons and apply them here today, tomorrow, and the day after, and continue to move forward with some of the things that can help you, help us as the Arab American community, and move forward as a society. We're 3 million strong in the US, and it's critical that we all are aligned. So as I look around the room, I see future leaders, I see advisors, mentors, and I see doers. And these are 3 key elements to creating a network that allow us to go from idea to impact. So 4 years ago, I was sitting in class. I went back to school to do my MBA after the fallout of the financial market. I was a banker and a finance executive. And I was sitting in class, and I heard a gentleman named Chuck Kane talk about something called social entrepreneurship. And he was the CEO of a company called One Laptop Per Child. Anyone know who One Laptop Per Child is? A couple of hands. They're a company that proposed to essentially eradicate poverty around the world through selling computers, laptops, at an affordable price to millions of people around the world. And the CEO, as he was giving us a guest lecture, says, we struck a deal with the Palestinian Authority. They funded and paid for their computers. And unfortunately, they were unable to deliver those computers because the occupiers had said that we have a potential to create weapons, essentially, out of these laptops. So, of course, being Palestinian, one of 2 Palestinians in the class, I got really personally touched by 2 things. One, how does a company do good, like One Laptop Per Child, and also do it in a sustainable way that actually makes profits? And of course, 2, what is the potential impact of these kind of business models that can affect my own people in the Palestinians? So I spoke to Chuck Kane after that, and we thought that if we could bring youth, and focusing specifically on youth, together from around the world, that we could potentially solve and tackle some of these challenges from an organic perspective. Critical issues affect the Palestinians as well as all Arabs around the world, and really people, and there's a lot of people here I met from Detroit, Chicago, et cetera, but poverty, access to healthcare, access to education, these are global issues. So we went on a move to say, how can we create sustainable businesses that make money and help the poor? So we launched something that's today known as the Hult Prize. And what the Hult Prize does is provide a platform and access to a network. So without talking too much about the Hult Prize, I really want to talk to you more so about how the idea moves to impact. I'll give you just a quick bite of how the Hult Prize works. So we've essentially tried to create an ecosystem that's somewhat like the Nobel Prize, and we've been called by some in the media the Nobel Prize for the next generation. And the way it works is that college and university students, the next generation, create prototypes and create social businesses. Social business is one that both makes money and has impact. And social businesses are so important in the world because if making money was a viable, helping the poor was a viable way of making money, right, then more than likely there would be no more poor people in the world, no more challenges, et cetera. So we opened up regional calls to action in Boston, San Francisco, London, Dubai, Shanghai, and I've just returned from Sao Paulo, Brazil, for our next kind of regional. And at each one of those events, student teams compete, and they pitch their ideas to world-class executives who then actually go on to select a winner. We move those winners into an incubator where we, again, push out these businesses in partnership with President Clinton and the Clinton Global Initiative. And of course, as Warren mentioned, there's $1 million prize because a good idea is a dead idea if there's no commitment to action and execution, and part of that is funding. So what are the key kind of steps or critical resources that you need to take your idea and move it to market and have impact? And a lot of times we call it lightning. How do you capture lightning in a bottle and scale it, right? And I believe that there's 3 critical functions that you need to do that. And hopefully you can take these things and implement them as you spend the next couple of days learning more about the issues that face our community and how we can work collectively as a network to overcome them. So the first thing is something that I call crowd science. Has anybody heard the term crowd science before? Good. That means you'll learn something. So get your notebooks out. So crowd science is the ability to leverage your networks. Everybody knows what networking is, but this science behind how to actually engage a network and how to get the most out of your network is more than an art. It's what we define as a science. And it's the first step for you to move your idea to impact. Why is it so important? Because if important people don't care about your idea will go nowhere. And you ask yourself, how in the world can I get somebody important to care about an idea? Well, that all starts with what type of networks you belong to. And just by being an Arab in America, I believe that you belong to one of the most powerful networks in the world. Whether or not you engage in that network is up to you. And ADC provides every one of us living here in the US an opportunity to be part of this network. So keeping along with the theme, it starts with you. Absolutely. It's not just being a part of a network, it's contributing and taking back to that network. Now, why is crowd science and being part of a network so important beyond getting people so excited about your idea? Because as you essentially look to move your idea to market, right, you'll need a team. You'll need other people that also believe in your idea that can help you move the needle from just paper to market, right? And then, of course, you also are going to need some funding along the way. And again, having access to funding is a key resource to getting your idea off the ground. Very much like when I was just a student and launched the Hult Prize 4 years ago, we immediately tapped into a network. I went after the benefactor of my business school. I figured the guy that my business school is named after probably has some money. Let me tap into him. We went after somebody who's the most powerful man in the world in terms of President Clinton, but we got there through crowd science, right? Obviously, President Clinton had the Clinton Global Initiative, the Clinton Foundation, Secretary Clinton had a whole network, right, of people that worked on her campaigns, et cetera. So we asked ourselves, how do we access the right networks to bring the right people on board, okay? The second thing that we need is to really get uncomfortable. And those of you that have heard me give speeches before, you see me, I'm actually looking down. I give speeches around the world, and this is the first time I've ever spoken to the Arab American community. And although I have a boilerplate speech, I thought I would try to create something specific for everybody. So you have to bear with me as I make sure to cover each and every one of those points because I think they're critical to the success of us as a community. So getting uncomfortable. If you're not getting uncomfortable, your idea is probably not going to be catalytic. It's not going to be innovative, and it's not ultimately going to have impact. Getting uncomfortable is something that each and every one of us struggles with. I struggle with on a regular basis. But if you really want to have an idea that can gain and achieve kind of some of the things we talked about before via your network, you really have to focus on capturing trends and taking those bullets and what I call collecting the dots, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit, and getting yourself in a position that makes you very, very, very uncomfortable, because only then, both in the idea germination to implementation in the marketplace, will you find yourself in a position to really have something that changes the game, right? And I see some people nodding. How many of you here have gotten yourself uncomfortable? Everyone. Well, so being an Arab in America, right, almost lends itself to that, right? But it's important that we come and show up to events like this because, again, we need to collectively work on some of these things to move our ideas to market. And, of course, the third thing is to go to market and be ready to adapt. So I work with startup entrepreneurs from all around the world. The Hult Prize is in 150 countries. We have 6 global offices, and we're expanding rapidly. We've got a network of about 2 million and growing. And I meet entrepreneurs and people that say, I have a good idea quite regularly. And the first thing they want to do when they have a good idea, of course, is spend a lot of time on a business plan, because that's what our environment and our culture teaches us. Write a business plan, right? But I'm going to give you a suggestion today to just go to market as fast as you can. And then, once you've learned from going to market, you come back and you adapt and you pivot. And then you write a business plan, because now you actually have something to write about, an experience. And experience is something that the next generation is actually moving towards in terms of an economy. How many of you know the term shared economy? A couple of people. So the wave of the future, right, the generation that's coming, is more interested in experiences, right, than products. And it's a phenomenal trend which is happening in the world today. And some of you won't believe it, but my generation, the generation that's coming, is more interested in taking a vacation than owning a home, right? They're more interested in working for companies that are having impact, right, more so than bottom line. And as Arab Americans, we have to work and move into this marketplace with ideas that capture the trends that we have today. And if you spend so much time on a business plan, you'll never be able to actually take in, adapt, pivot to some of those things that are needed to actually have a company and get it off the ground. So how does that all fit into what you guys are going to experience over the next couple of days? So it comes down to, I think, very simple principles that I will challenge everyone here and, of course, hopefully beyond to do and to think about. The first one is collect as many dots as you can. What is a dot? Right? A dot is an idea fragment that comes as a result of attending sessions, meeting with your peers, doing research, okay? And of course, that starts with showing up. It starts with each and every one of you. And then the second thing is to collect better dots, right? Because now as you have frame of reference, you can continue to evolve. Your ideas and the challenges that you address, especially these breakout panels, are excellent in a sense that you can actually begin to, take on and comprehend each and everything that is a major issue to our society, our community, and how to take that to the next level. And then, as you guessed it, connect the dots, right? Because an idea to market is just a matter of taking the pieces of information that you've collected, the networks and the contacts from those networks that you've been able to collectively build, and combining those to actually move to market. So with that, I want to challenge each and every one of you to go beyond just these sessions and to make a commitment to yourself and to your network by the time you leave this meeting, the ADC National Convention. And hold yourself to that commitment, and hopefully by the time you come back next year, you'll have achieved and made progress towards that commitment and have also influenced others to follow in your footsteps, because it does begin with you. Thank you very much.